AITA for selling my family home because my pregnant sil ate my dinner. I know, shitty title, but I'm in a rush to get to work, so excuse my grammar. Also, I want to point out me and my brother have two different fathers. I, 19F, lost my father last year to cancer. He left me 90% of his stuff, including his family home that was left to him by his dad. It's been in their family for over 100 years. My brother, 34, and my dad didn't have a relationship, but he did leave him 10k. My mom was pissed at the will reading, but since she got 10k she couldn't do anything about it. For the past year me and her live okay together. She went on acting like it was her house like before, which I had no problem with, till in May my brother and his girlfriend, 30, moved in, without even asking me. They're messy, entitled and rude. I told them in July I want them out by September because they don't pay for anything nor wash a dish. In August they announced they were pregnant and my sil smugly said, guess we won't be moving out now. It didn't go down well, but when I told them I wanted them out, my mom and brother basically laughed in my face. Well, the past few months have been hell. They've become worse than before, and my mom enables it, then demands me to treat my sil like a princess because she's pregnant. I once had to wait outside McDonald's till they opened to get her a McMuffin. Well, here where I may be the asshole. Because my sil is pregnant, she eats everything she sees, like the cupcakes my friend made me for my birthday. She ate all 6, didn't even get to try them. I can't even make my lunch the night before because when I go to get it, it will be gone. She'll have a smug look on her face while rubbing her belly, then laugh and say I couldn't help myself, blame the baby. If I put stuff in my room, my mom will open the door with the spare key so can go through my mini fridge. Well, a week ago I was running late to college. I didn't have time for my breakfast or to make lunch, and I had to go to work straight after, so all I had that day was a bar of chocolate. When I got home I was starving. I made myself dinner. While it was cooling down I went to use the bathroom. I must have been in there 10 minutes at most. By the time I came out she had 70% of my dinner ate, and I literally lost my shit. Of course she started crying. My mom and brother started screaming at me for making her cry, making excuses like how she couldn't help it and it was my fault for leaving food around her. Well, I had enough. I told them get out, just like before. I got mocked, but here's the thing. Back in October my uncle offered me a life-changing amount of money for the house. I called him up crying a few days ago explaining the situation. He said he'd buy the house but he will evict my mom and brother. They OFC didn't take it too well and I have had to stay with a friend. I've been receiving texts and I'm being tagged in multiple posts on social media. I'm starting to think I'm the bad person now. So AITA for making my mom and brother homeless. Edit. Wow, I expected a few comments but wow. So I'm on a break. I'll address some things. Some of your roasts are hilarious. I honestly deserve it for how bad my grammar is, but I was walking to work and declining calls from my mom while making this post. I almost said fuck it and didn't post. If I sell the house to my uncle I will lose 100k, but he's always been good to me and it's one of those situations where I'd sleep better knowing it's gone to someone in my dad's family. My mom told me because of my age I wouldn't be taken seriously if I tried to evict them. If I evict them and continue to live in the house along with the high financial costs, I don't think they'd ever let me live in peace. My mom has health issues and my sil will have to move in with her parents. They won't allow my brother, so I'd be splitting up a young family in my mum's words. Guys, I'm actually crying. I've never been told before I'm proud of you, and the fact I've seen a thread of comments telling that means the absolute world to me. Edit 2. I plan to meet a lawyer and will update you all as soon as I've news. Also, since people are curious, the house is worth 2.5 million. It's in the heart of London. NTA split the motherfuckers up, my gal. I trained my 4-month-old puppy to wait for my command to eat. Your pregnant sil has 2 brains in her and less brain cells than my dog. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. Made my day, hee hee. Puppy will get unlimited dog treats for today. I've coffee coming out my nose. Smiley face. NTA. TBH, you should have gotten legal papers drawn to evict them and involve the cops because it seriously seems like they were emotionally abusing you. NTA at all, and I'm very proud of you for standing up for yourself. Tissam, I might sound pathetic but this made me smile. I've not heard the words proud of you my entire life. Wow guys, I'm actually crying. You have no idea how much this means. My family doesn't believe in even saying I love you to each other. I would get the house valued independently by several agents. If your uncle's offer is reasonable and in line with the valuations, then take it, but don't feel you have to sell to get rid of them. Serve them a notice of eviction now. It will be easier for the uncle if you do sell if they are not still there. Go to a solicitor and get them out. NTA edited to add, whilst you are there, get a restraining order against them. They sound like wackos. Edited to add after seeing updates, do not take your uncle's offer, he is only looking out for himself. If he genuinely wanted to help you, he would offer to go with you to a solicitor etc. to have them evicted. It's disgusting. He's taking advantage of his brother's child who is suffering. I recommend reassessing that relationship as well. Thank you for the awards. AITA for celebrating my anniversary despite what happened at my wedding. My husband and I had our wedding last year. The venue was boat a day I fucked up and bordered a lake. Unfortunately, during the reception, one of the young children snuck away from their parents and decided to go for a swim, despite not being able to. This was tragic and devastating, and obviously cut the day short. We haven't really spoken to the parents since then, as we weren't close to them aside from seeing them on holidays, which haven't happened this year. We are still Facebook friends though. When our first anniversary came, I made a post celebrating our anniversary with a few wedding photos. I didn't think anything of it, until the comments came flooding in. I woke up to 30 comments and 15 missed calls. The top comment was from the mother of the child, who was outraged about it. She wrote a very long comment about how my post was disrespectful of the tragedy that had happened that day and how dare I post that and not mention her child, and of course talking to her first. 30 comments later, and it was clear that the entire family had clearly started to take sides in a battle I didn't realize I created. As of today, we're at 150 comments. My friends and my parents are involved too. Half of his family is screaming for me to take it down, apologize to the parents, and show more respect, possibly by even celebrating our anniversary on a different day. Some of the family think that we should still be able to celebrate our anniversary on the actual day, but just keep it offline to keep peace. I don't think I did anything wrong with my post, and I feel like we should be allowed to celebrate our anniversary just like anyone else. I'm not celebrating the tragedy, I'm celebrating my wedding. AITA edit. I have changed the post to only be visible to me and deleted all comments to try to stop the arguing, but from the email we just received, those comments were just a symptom of a larger problem. My mother-in-law sent us an email with, from what I can tell, roughly 3/4 of my husband's family CC'd on it. His parents, grandparents, and the parents of the child are not only in the different day camp, but they are also demanding a second wedding. According to them, they've kept their silence for so long due to shock and being distracted by everything else going on this year, but they feel that because of what happened we aren't really married yet in the family. They understand that weddings are expensive, so they, husband's parents, offered to completely pay for this second wedding that will be the real wedding in his family's eyes. And because it may be a year or two before this can be done safely, they will tolerate us living in sin indefinitely due to the circumstances. My husband hates arguing with his family, and I'm not sure how I would even approach this with my family without being laughed out of the room, so now we need to talk about what to do with this. Edit 2. I've never had this many calls in my life. My husband and I have tried to read through this and have gotten a chance to actually talk this out. We have avoided the subject for a long time because it is not an easy thing to think about, and it is not like this year hasn't had stresses of its own. He agrees that while something does need to happen, it is a priority that they start and continue to acknowledge that we are in fact married. I have had a conversation with my parents at least, who were exactly as they always were, but they are now aware of the full situation, and while they still would not support a full second wedding, they understand that I have an exceptional situation and so something exceptional needs to happen. I replied to my mail only to a group Zoom call with us, my parents, my husband's sister-in-law to set up that sets up all of their technology things, which will happen later in the day. I feel like I should address some things, 1. I did send condolences and attended the funeral. By not speaking, I meant since the funeral. I mistakenly thought that would be implied. 2. I am not heartless. I was trying to avoid the rules with the euphemism, and it is not an easy day or thing to talk about. I was trying to keep things to just what happened, which I can see coming across very strange over text. I am also aware that I write very formally, but that's not something I can change. 3. The pictures and caption didn't reference the wedding itself, and there is no lake visible in the pictures. I only used ones that had just my husband and I in them, and I have sent pictures of just the bridal party before. I never have or will post pictures of the reception. 4. My husband and I are looking ideas of how to fix this. I'm confused. Was the child a family member? The husband's mother sending that email with 3/4 of the family on it and offering to pay for a second wedding makes me think this child was a family member and not simply the child of parents who Ops says they weren't close with. The living in sin thing bothers me. And husband are legally and religiously married. Regardless of the tragedy that took place, a second wedding would be nothing but show, and everyone in attendance would know the only reason they are there is because a child died at the first wedding. This wouldn't be a happy wedding. This post is entirely above Reddit's pay grade. Honestly, moments like this where life milestones are combined inadvertently with tragedy, are impossible to traverse without stepping on someone's toes. You could have talked to the parent of this child in advance and even mentioned the child in your post and they'd be angry you asked. If you had posted as is but limited the audience to only your family/friends, it might have deeply upset people even more. You could have not posted anything at all, and still been yelled at for not publicly acknowledging the 1-year anniversary of this poor kid's passing. Similarly, I could easily see the grieving parents being deeply upset just by coming to them to discuss the subject. Every person grieves differently. Some people want to commemorate the day, others want to simply pretend the world itself doesn't exist. There's no way for you to know, and just approaching to discuss the subject might get people bent out of shape. On another note, if your child's death is connected to a major life event for someone else, you should probably avoid social media surrounding the date to minimize seeing something you don't want to, like another guest sharing their old post about what happened. The in-laws you're living in sin/not really married email is ridiculous. If you wanted to do a vow renewal with your husband, that's your choice. But regardless of how they feel, you're still married, and the extreme entitlement to demand another wedding is ridiculous. With your luck, the same cousin would come and still be traumatized because it's your wedding, and you and your husband getting married is a probable trigger for traumatic memories. After seeing the edit, wow, everyone even peripherally attached to this situation is determined to be the biggest asshole they possibly can about it. Huh? I thought you were heartless and inconsiderate to have made the Facebook post, but that email suggests you are one of the less assholish people in your social circle. Living in sin, you can sit on a cactus. I don't mean to sound flippant, but clearly none of the people present at your wedding have processed the tragedy they witnessed, directly or indirectly, in a healthy way. You all need therapy. Less processing with each other, since it looks like the whole family are drama queens who reinforce each other's bad ideas, and more processing with trained professionals. I'm sorry your wedding was ruined. I'm sorry for the family who lost their kid. I'm sorry for everyone who was present for and impacted by such an upsetting event. I'm sorry your in-laws are making a shitty situation shittier. What a sad mess. AITA for not cleaning while I cook just to prove a point to my husband. I've always cleaned as I cook so that when it gets to the end of the meal, there's minimal mess. My husband is the opposite. When he cooks, it's like a bomb went off. I've encouraged him to clean as he cooks, and if we're doing a big meal/holiday meal together, I often make sure to assign him that role. Like most people, one of us cooks, the other one cleans up. I am the better cook, so I cook like 80% of the time. He gets an easy cleanup. I'm busier than usual at work, so he's had to step up. Whenever he's done, the kitchen is a mess. I don't even get how it happens. There will be oil splatters untouched, stuff drying to dishes, peels and meat. I'm not about to let food sit out overnight, so after I'm done eating I'll start the process and won't get to really relax much. Last week I asked if he could please try cleaning as he cooks. He told me the rule is one person cooks, the other person cleans. I said I get that, but you're leaving me with a huge mess every night. He said I just don't have the time to clean up when I'm focused on cooking, knowing full well I'll see him scrolling on his phone. I just got so fed up, so on Sunday I made a big pot of chili. I didn't clean up as I worked. When I was done, I served him, sat down, enjoyed a beer and dinner. When he finally went into the kitchen, he said, "What the fuck? Why is there such a mess?" I said that I was too busy paying attention to the chili to clean up. I started to get ready for bed. He was like, "You're just going to leave this here?" And I said yes. He said he would have to wake up extra early to clean up and that he had to be at work earlier than usual and was supposed to play a game with his friends later that night. So could I just clean up? I said no, I cooked, so he has to clean. 2 days later he's still pissy with me because he ended up not being able to game and told me that he didn't get enough sleep and was exhausted at work. Not to be too snarky, but it's not like he's a surgeon, because I had to prove a point to him. I told him that nothing else seemed to get his attention, and I feel pretty justified. He told me I was being a smug asshole about it and it was childish. Or is he? Edit. A couple of people asked how we can make so many dishes, it should take 15 minutes, etc. We don't have a dishwasher, there's no room for one, so everything has to be done by hand. Additionally, doing the dishes means cleaning up the counters and stovetop and sweeping the floor, taking out the trash if need be. When I make chili, it's a process starting with dried chilies that I toast, soak, seed, pulverize, etc. Then there's cooking the dried beans, then there's the onions and garlic and the peels, any other veggies, seeding tomato, cans of tomato, grinding the spices, etc. Then there's grating cheese for the top, etc. It definitely left a ton of dishes and other stuff behind. Edit 2. Sorry guys, I was reading comments as I was at work. I thought this would get like 10 comments tops. So another thing that comes up is whoever cooks also cleans, but since I cook most of the time, I just don't see that as being also fair to me. I'll end up spending almost every single day after work, I've been ending work at 6 or 7 some days lately, cooking and cleaning. If I had him cook more I would definitely start to gain weight and then we'd have another issue altogether, ha 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 ha. Final edit. Thanks for all the feedback everyone. Oh, and sorry to the people on AmItheAsshole for the humble braggy way I mentioned I make chili. Didn't mean to make you guys feel inferior because I toasted a few chilies. Lamau. Oh, it's so fishy because she used dried beans. Makes sense why people are asking for my recipe if the concept of toasting chilies and using dried beans is so novel. Lamau.